Hello everyone and welcome back to the DreamHack Open Valencia, powered by FACEIT. We're about to get underway in the next semi-final. I'm your host, Richard Lewis. It's been an amazing tournament so far. All the top teams just throwing up some amazing counters.
Why that laugh, guys?
Because we're about to talk about Cloud9. No, I'm kidding.
Wow. Start off fresh.
Be some words there. Right?
I'm joking. It's because Dorian's not here to do it, so I've got to do it.
Where's the beard? Do you have the beard?
It got took away.
It's here somewhere.
They ritually burnt the beard. That's what they did.
Sacrifice.
Anyway, with me still is Henry G, and joining us for this point of analysis is going to be Semler and fifLaren, who were just casting. Now, obviously, I'm having a little bit of fun there. Lots of people have come into this whole argument, are Cloud9 really a good team? There always seems to be an excuse to detract from their achievements. Sure. So now it's like, oh, well, what, they've won 2 best of ones and they're in a semi again, and people aren't, there's still people in Europe that aren't taking them seriously. So I want to ask you two, do we need to take them seriously?
Absolutely. Fnatic are taking them seriously. KRIMZ himself in an interview said that he considers them to be a tier 1 team now. So you damn well better be sure that Fnatic are going to be prepared for this match, that they'll have done their homework, that they'll have broken Cloud9 down, that they're going to do the best that they can to be as well prepared as possible for this match. There's no two ways about it. You can no longer underestimate Cloud9. If you give them anything to work with, they will crush you.
Okay, and Robin, I'll ask you the same question, because again, it's like, so they beat EnVyUs, and then it was, it's best of 1. Then they beat EnVyUs in a best of 3, right? Oh no, but EnVyUs are going to kick players, so
well, EnVyUs
doesn't really
gave
count.
them that one, right?
Yeah. So and then EnVyUs gave it to them, right? And that's what people are saying. So it's like, we haven't really seen a top Cloud9 performance. They beat Na'Vi here, 16-14. It was a bit of a ground out performance, but they still won. People are still like, well, it's Na'Vi. It's a bit of a. People just keep making excuses to not give Cloud9 credit.
Well, I mean, they did give Fnatic a run for their money in the finals of the ESEA. They could have potentially ended up winning that whole tournament. So definitely, they have been playing a lot better as of late, and I do believe that it's because of their changing comms. They're very calm and collected now. They're not screaming. They're just calling it one time, and it really helps when you have a team that obviously very talented. With the addition of Skadoodle and fREAKAZoiD actually showing up as well, where you just cool down, you talk calmly like we are right now, and it's just gonna help you game so much. And on top of that, Gares is just like found new life, right? So he's on point with his calling. He pretty much knows what every single team is doing. He had 1 day off now as well to just check out Fnatic and watch demos or whatever, have a good feel for what maps will we play this versus Fnatic now. So for sure.
Henry, do you have anything to add to that? No, I'll come to you.
Yeah, I completely agree with the sentiments these guys have put forward. Like the best thing about this for Cloud9 is we know how much homework they do, and like they've had a whole day off now. They've only had to play 2 maps here so far, and being able to watch every single game and watch teams unravel and see their strengths, their weaknesses. We know after hearing the POV comms at ESL, we know how well prepared they are for every single team, and this scenario has only helped them, I think.
Yeah, well, I think the big point here to be made as well is that you just touched on that. That's the point that stands out for me, the fact that Gares is now successful in rallying the troops. But the big reason for me there is the roster change, is the fact that now he's got fREAKAZoiD and Skadoodle, 2 guys who are completely dedicated to the cause, and he no longer has Corey and Hiko, or Semphis and Hiko, basically, trying to put a stick in the wheel, trying to slow things up, or at least, basically make it unclear as to what the team needs to do in each round. Now Gares, after that roster change has been made, he steps in and he says, no, this is my team now. This is how it's going to run. If I say something, you do it, there's no discussion. And since that change has been made, that's when I think we've started to see the rise of Cloud9, where all of a sudden they can act and play together as a unit. It's no longer this dysfunctional family.
And speaking of the stick in the wheel, though, I want to bring this to the table. We were told it's okay to sort of have an adult conversation about it, which is one of the great things about doing DreamHacks. And that is, of course, Semphis talking about the Adderall incident, which of course, it's a lot of negative press, it's a lot of extra pressure. All of those people that I was talking about at the top of the show that don't want to give Cloud9 credit, it just gives them ammunition to discredit their achievements even more.
Well, if they're the only ones doing it, guys, I got a car to sell you if you want that, if you believe that too.
Well, exactly. But the question I wanted to ask you, and I'll go with you first, Robin, is how much extra pressure is that going to put on them now? Because it's negative publicity coming into a tournament, a lot of pressure from the fans, a lot of people saying, well, what are you going to do about it? Because their achievements are all null and void now because one guy said they were on Adderall. So is this going to apply any extra pressure to them?
No, I don't think so. I mean, at the end of the day, first of all, it's not even illegal.
No.
So what is there to do? Okay, yeah, you can't do that. Okay, fair enough. What is there to say that they actually have done it, other than this one player that used to play on the team that's probably salty right now, ending up being kicked, and then all of a sudden you have this Cloud9 roster now that's very successful, whereas for himself ended up in probably a team that has not yet performed. So even if it is true, there's nothing you can do about it right now. What?
No,
was that a play?
Actually, no, it's funny that you say, you know, like, he might be salty right now, and, you know, you just kind of, like, wants to throw them under the bus. Because the one man I think about whenever that comes up is GMX with Epsilon. We would have never known that they'd thrown a game if it wasn't for GMX getting kicked from that roster, then him being like, you know what, screw all you guys, you're coming with me. Like,
and of course, the classic iBuy power with the ex-girlfriend coming into play as well. You gotta be careful.
Be careful, man.
Yeah, you gotta keep your friends close and your enemies close.
But overall, I mean, again, for myself, I have actually never heard of anyone taking anything during my point of time when I was playing. So
well, you were too high, so you didn't realize.
Look at my eyes, right? I'm on something right now. No, but like again, like it's supposed to be a fair game, and if again, it's not illegal. If it was illegal and that something happened, yeah, sure, maybe we could make a bigger deal out of it.
Yeah.
But it's not at this point of time. And to be fair, they were playing us against like every single tournament. They need all the ad roll they can get.
At the end of the day, it's speculation. You can only take it with a pinch of salt. Like as these guys said, not being illegal until some sort of legislation comes in saying you can't do X, Y, and Z. It's like it's only going to do so much to your game. I really don't see that being a problem.
There's a big discussion about it going on with the players right now. But all the players, the final say is really, does it sit with your team or not? Because there are no rules. It only comes down to how the teams govern themselves and how the players want to play and all that. So,
I'm sure Henry G, who's known for being opportune and trying to fill gaps in the market, he'll probably come out like easytests.com. He'll be around there. I'll hold the cup for you, please. So, anyway. Just before this descends into a farce, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw over to the stage where we're going to introduce both of these teams, both Cloud9 and Fnatic. We'll come back and talk a little bit more about them in a moment. But let's go over, and we've got James Duffield and, of course, the lovely Smix. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Richard Lewis. I am so excited for our second semi-final match of the day. It'll be Cloud9 versus Fnatic. Of course, these two teams have played recently, and I'm really excited to see how that match will go in this rematch, James.
Yeah, we've already seen one amazing semi-final. I can't wait to see this one. It's going to be really close, really close.
Yeah. Now, before we get to the second semi-final, I do want to give a shout out to this crowd here, because especially in that series, you guys were absolutely amazing. I could hear your shouting and cheering all the way from backstage. So a huge shout out to everyone here in Valencia.
Yeah, they are great. I've been really impressed. The fact that we have like crowds of people who can't even sit down, it's a shame. We should have more seats, but it's just showing the love for CS. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I know you guys must be super excited for the second semi-final match. It's time. Let's bring these two teams out on stage. It's Cloud9 and Fnatic. First player from Cloud9. He's the young Canadian. He's the best aimer in NA. Give it up for Shroud. And of course, up next, we have the 1.6 legend, recently called the Iceman. Give it up for Nothing. And of course, we have Sean Gares, the in-game leader of Cloud9. And our next player is considered one of the most aggressive entry fraggers. It's FREAKAZOiD. And of course, the last player from Cloud9. He's been praised a lot recently. He's one of the best offers in the world. It is Skadoodle.
And now we have the #1 team in the world. Their entry fragger, it's flusha. Followed by the well-known AWPer, it is JW. And in the middle we have their leader, their in-game leader, it's pronax. Followed by what is considered to be the best player in the world by a lot of people, it's olofmeister. And this guy is an expert holding sights on his own, the rifler for Fnatic. And he's got a new hat, it's KRIMZ! We have an amazing semi-final coming up for you guys, and now, center stage, Smix has an interview with two of the players. Take it away.
Thank you very much, James. First, I want to talk to you, Sean. I know that recently you guys have been talking about how there's been a lot of sickness going on with your teammates, unfortunately. How has that been working out for you guys? Though it seems like it's been a positive thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to keep my distance right now. We're all in the upswing, though. So we came here, we all got sick. We're starting to all get better. I think Shroud's the only one that's starting to get sick right now, so he isn't fully sick, so we're good.
And JW, in terms of how your team got to the semifinals, you guys did lose to TSM, but you won against NIP and Liquid. But especially that game, that series against NIP was a little bit close. I'm wondering if that had a hit on your confidence as a team at all.
I don't think it affects our confidence that much. We're two Swedish teams. We always play super close. They are a really good team, and like when we play each other, it's a lot about aim. So it doesn't affect our confidence, I would say.
And obviously, Sean, your team has enjoyed a lot of recent success lately, two back-to-back finals. But now, this here at DreamHack Open Valencia, this is kind of a real test for you guys, as pretty much every game you're playing is against one of the best teams, and now you're up against Fnatic again. So how are you guys feeling headed into this match?
We're feeling pretty good. We watched a lot of their matches yesterday. We had a really good idea for how the veto would go, so the veto went pretty much exactly how we planned. We feel pretty prepared right now, and we're just ready to play our best CS.
All right, and JW, my last question for you before we get this match underway. Cloud9 has shown that they're very good at preparing for specific teams, and recently KRIMZ has even stated that he views them as a tier 1 team. So how do you guys feel headed into this match?
I mean, we respect them a lot as a team, way more now than we did like first time we played them. So, I mean, we prepared some special stuff, so, but you can relax, it's not a boost. But yeah, we feel ready.
All right, sounds good. Please shake hands. It's time to find out which one of these teams will move on to the grand finals here at DreamHack Open Valencia. Richard Lewis, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Smix. Well, you can see that if Cloud9 are thinking it's a real test, they're not showing it at all. I mean, they're absolutely supremely confident. They're dancing on the stage. Yeah. Again, we won't make any cheap jokes about Adderall use at this point.
I need to point out, so James doesn't get the blame. Yeah, I apologize, James. I was the one who said flusha was the entry frag. He saw me the lurk. I was like, woo. You saw the head shake. He was like, wait a minute, entry frag. I apologize.
Nice one, Robin. Just goes to show, people always go, players, get them on the analysis test. They know what they're talking about. Yeah, flusha's an entry fragger. Yeah, nice one. Okay.
I apologize.
Yeah, you'll never let that one down. Anyway, back to talking about Cloud9. Like I say, they dance on the stage. fREAKAZOiD gives the flex. He shows off his gains. They're relaxed. They're laughing. They're saying, "Hey, we just got over a bit of illness," but and then they're just so happy right now. I mean, you can see
that guy right there, though, man. That was the best reaction for me because he's not giving anybody any shit. He's just like, you know what? I'm just here.
Little wave.
Yeah. To kick ass and chew gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum, right? Like he's here to fuck shit up. I'm looking forward to this guy now.
What is this?
I don't even know, man.
Glorious.
Yeah, chariots of fire there. Like. But no, I'll tell you what though, I've seen this happen a lot with teams, okay? Cloud9 have been hated on and had people like really sort of disrespecting their ability for so long. It seems to have galvanized them as a unit. Like we were talking at them at the Gfinity and they said, look, don't judge us now, judge us at the end of these European events. We're gonna be over here and we're gonna win things, we're gonna do things. People are gonna take us more seriously by the end. And we sort of went, okay, you say this every time, but we got to take them serious now.
Yeah, I mean, the first Gfinity event they did with this team, they did not look good.
No,
not at all. And just the transition from looking that poorly until like having 2 back-to-back finals, obviously it's a massive change.
Yeah, well, Semler, look, tell us about these players that we've got on our screen right now and who we need to sort of, watch out for. Which is the danger man here?
The danger man, I think, are the two guys sitting on the end, really. Yeah. Ska and Shroud. Like, they're that 1-2 combination punch that really puts Cloud9 on the map. Ska is one of the best offers in the world. He can go toe-to-toe with anybody. He'll take fights, he'll land flicks, he'll hold angles for you. He'll do whatever you need him to do. And he's so consistent now. And Shroud, best aimer in the world, or a contender for it, really, but clearly in North America, that guy is a monster as well. So between the two of them, those are your front runners. Nothing and fREAKAZOiD have really been stepping up their individual game as well. Nothing in particular really impressed last week in the finals. He was just going ham, and he had a fever, which is why we're calling him the Iceman now, because he had that bag of ice on his head trying to cool down. for him to be playing under those conditions and to still go 30 bomb, like just drop 30 bombs, you're like, okay then, Cloud9. There's a lot of talent on this team. You have to be careful.
Well, one thing to put on about Nothing as well, coming into their former roster, he wasn't really that consistent. Very shaky. You know, and I think that the main reason was because they relied too heavily on him. They were like, well, you're the superstar, right? You're this player. Now he has a bunch of players that can just step up completely, and he's just been playing amazing as of late.
Takes the pressure off.
There's also one thing, a really important thing to note here, and it comes down to that Cloud9, to the Sean Gares leadership point. Nothing has always said that he actually struggles when there isn't a plan, when he doesn't know what they need to be doing, what role am I supposed to do, where am I supposed to go, and which smoke, which flash, all these sorts of things. Now that Sean Gares has taken the reins over again, and he has these plans going into the matches, he himself says, actually I feel so much more confident now, I feel so much more comfortable, I can just focus on my game because I trust Sean Gares to make the calls, I trust what he says, and so that allows me to just focus on my crosshair. Past couple events, you see the result.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Henry, we're going to give you the all-important duty. We had Samla talk a little bit about it now, but I want you to pick out the guy that the people at home need to watch for Cloud9.
For Cloud9, he's got to be Skadoodle. Like you can't take anything away from him. Like he's stepped up so much recently. Like he's one of the most consistent AWPers. He can clutch all the time. Like even with 3-on-1 situations, you can see him, especially on a maps like Cobble and Dust 2. He's so important. You can see him up on the screen right there. For me, he's one of the most best defensive AWPers in the world. I wouldn't put him down as the best AWPer generally right now, but on the CT side, you can rely on him every single day of the week to hit the shots that count and making sure he can get the early frag quite early on as well. Quite versatile, can move all over the map, and yeah, he's the one that's going to be a real trouble for Fnatic this series. And
go on, Fifth, we've got time. You pick out another player. Are we going to talk about Shroud some more from you, or is there something? Because, you know, I always think sometimes a team's only as strong as its weakest player, you know? So, like, maybe sometimes it can be those guys stepping up that get you a win.
So you're saying that Shroud is the weakest player on Cloud9?
No, I'm not.
What's that you said?
I'm like, hold me back, No, wait. What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, obviously Shroud and Skadoodle do get the plaudits, but it's a 5-man team, and there's other guys in there. You know, I always talk about how FREAKAZOiD, he may not be topping the charts a lot, but he's an entry fragger and he makes important kills. That's something a lot of people don't talk about.
Well, yeah, the thing about FREAKAZOiD is that he doesn't give a damn if he ends up going down or not. He's still going to do that every single round for that team. So as long as they win, he's happy, right? So, and you see that from time and time again. He's going to ask for a flash, having his gun up, run through a smoke if need be. If he ends up getting the heal, great.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, okay. We'll try again next round.
That's the whole thing about being an entry fragger. Like your stats might not be the most amazing in the world, but you're getting into the bomb site, even just taking that first kill, dying after that, especially as T, like going 4 for 4 in a situation, that's amazing for a T side. So that's why it's difficult to gauge entry fraggers. Like you look at the stats generally. That's why Counter-Strike's such a broad spectrum. You can't just look at the numbers.
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot. I mean, you know, FREAKAZOiD especially is, you know, he's been bottom of the charts a few times. People are going, well, he's not stepping up. He's not doing his job, but a lot of those rounds, you know, he does get the important kill that they win. So if he gets the first frag and they win the round, it doesn't matter what his score is. You know, if they win every round, he gets an entry. That's his job.
But you guys end on the right point, exactly. Stats. And stats aren't really important when it comes to FREAKAZOiD. He does his job, and that much is clear. But for me, it's an intangible. That's what he stands out in. It's the team morale. He's made it his goal to constantly be positive and to try and constantly keep the team up, talking, focused. That's his actual follow-up role. Okay, he dies. Then he turns to the comms. Then he makes sure that nobody's whining. He makes sure that everybody's focused and that everybody, you know, cracks a joke here and there. Just tries to keep the levity. And that's also so important because if you're struggling in a match and it starts to get quiet and you guys start to get down on yourselves, it's that much harder to get back into the game.
We saw that with Fnatic the other day, when as soon as the internal arguments start and you've got no one locking it down and you see people smashing stuff and arguing, that's when the team breaks down, and like, that can lead to a loss. So having someone there to kind of keep everything together and keep the morale high, like it's worth its weight in gold.
And that's a very good point. Now we're going to move on to Fnatic, but we are talking about a Fnatic that we have seen looking emotional, looking raw, looking angry, not looking like the unit that they have been recently. And there's been a lot of talk, a lot going on. There's talk about NIP players maybe moving to Fnatic. There's talk about Fnatic players maybe moving to NIP. There's all sorts going on behind the scenes right now. And Fnatic have still, you know, managed to hold on to that #1 spot, but they are looking a bit more mortal here. They're looking like they can be got to.
Exactly. They do look mortal right now, and it's actually the man right there, flusha. For me, I mean, there's a bit of a joke, a bit of a back and forth with olofmeister and myself where, you know, I was like, wow, I really saw a lot of emotion out of flusha. He slammed his keyboard the other day, but Olof was like, oh, well, you don't watch many matches. And I'm like, but that's not the point. The point is that you shouldn't be, going ham like that, especially on a team like this where you need to be keeping focused and keeping together as a unit. If you've got one of your players like just throwing his keyboard around and slamming the table, that's can only mean bad things.
Well, that's what got Makalele sort of out of NIP. They weren't going to tolerate that. So it's interesting that Fnatic is sort of giving the players that leeway to be that emotional. Just talking some more about these players, though, fifLara, and I'm sure you know them all very intimately, some more than others. Who's the danger man right now for Fnatic? Obviously, olofmeister is a name that jumps out, but is there anyone else?
JW, always. Yeah. Fnatic is such a great team in terms of they can actually have JW do whatever he wants, and then still heavily rely on the other 4 players. That's why they're so good individually. Where you have for example KRIMZ, he can hold down sites by himself. So even if they end up losing the entry, you still have KRIMZ. Okay, well leave me alone here. I'll make this happen. You guys just do whatever you want, and we're still gonna be able to win the rounds. And that's the beauty of Fnatic, that they can actually afford to do that.
I completely agree. We've seen JW have one really bad performance this event, with the 5 for 23. But you just have to take that with a pinch of salt. Every game is a different result for these guys. And I see him bouncing back here. The finals where these guys do really well on stage, big explosive players. And this is going to be a really interesting series. I think that we've got the maps now, right? So you can see Mirage is down there. That works really well for Fnatic, and it's the first map, I believe. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that goes down.
This is very interesting.
That's not what I expected to see.
Cloud9 does not play Mirage.
Cloud9, they're bad maps. They say themselves, Inferno and Mirage, right? So they can only veto one. You get one veto, then one pick. So they had to veto. I'd say it's the right choice. Get rid of Inferno. They've got absolutely no chance in Inferno against.
Well, I mean, this is interesting. So, without even looking at the veto screen, which is going to come shortly, you can tell straight away Fnatic have got Mirage. I mean, that goes hands without saying. And then obviously Cloud9 have been doing really well on train lately. Fnatic haven't, they've won some games on it against good opposition, but it's always been close games that they're winning. So they can be got to on that map, and we've seen Cloud9 put in some real big performances. Then it comes down to that Dust 2, and we've seen Cloud9 versus Fnatic recently on Dust 2, and of course Cloud9 lost. That was a DSL.
No, that's the clear. Yeah, it's okay. Well, actually, we have it right here.
Yeah, here we are.
And it is Cloud9 vetoing Inferno, but that was their second veto, so they did leave it in. But then, what did they veto first?
Cobblestone, which makes sense because that's the one map that lost versus Cloud9.
But that's Fnatic vetoing it, right?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So wait, Fnatic number 5. Oh my God, this.
No, so
they
C9
veto Inferno first, then,
Yeah.
and then Overpass is the second veto.
I agree with these vetoes. I think that it's a very good veto coming from Cloud9. Obviously for Fnatic as well, choosing to veto Cobblestone, a map that they ended up losing versus Cloud9, and then just looking at the map, Fnatic should have Mirage in the bag. 100%.
Absolutely.
Train is a little bit of a toss-up for me because Fnatic, it's not like they're a bad train team.
Well, we saw yesterday, they beat NIP 16-14, but that's with olofmeister getting 39 frags. So that kind of suggests, when you've got a player getting 39 frags and you're not winning by a convincing margin, what's going on with the other players on the team? Why does he have to step up that much to just clinch the victory there?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like you say, it's been close games every time they've won on train, and the Fnatic have said it's a map. We don't mind playing it, but they don't really seem to have it down yet. Pronax hasn't really got to grips with it, like a lot of teams haven't, so that could be interesting. But even that said, I don't know.
It's a tough read, right?
Yeah,
it's still Cloud9 putting themselves in this really disadvantageous position when it comes to vetoes because they have 2 maps out of the pool that they're weak on right now. So Henry and I were talking about this before going into this match, where it's like, where do they go? I thought that they would actually just hard veto Mirage and bite the bullet and play Inferno because we hear good things about their CT side.
No,
maybe that turns it around.
We're done hearing about that.
I've heard I don't know. Just keep doing it.
Fnatic on Inferno, guys. I mean, they're imperious.
I think we've all been led astray.
For anyone.
I think we've all been led astray. I think that Cloud9, they're all one step ahead. It's Sean Gares after all, right?
Let's see. Well, look, what we need to do
Mirage, that's actually their good map.
We need to, if that's true, he really is a wizard. Now let's get to predictions. I'll start with you, Robin, because we've got to get over to the players. So how do you see this one panning out based on that veto?
2-0 Fnatic.
Okay. Thanks for playing. Here's the prize.
You said hurry up. I was like, okay.
No, but it's good. It's succinct. Similar.
Well, Thorin isn't here. Man.
The beard.
How do I even do this? Sorry, where's the beard? Where's the beard when you need it? I will go 2-1 Cloud9. Yeah, I'm going to say that they lose Mirage convincingly because, maybe I believe in Magic, but not to that extent.
Okay.
I say they lose Mirage, but I think that they come back in the next 2 maps.
I agree. With the current form Fnatic's on right now, I think they will win Mirage just because it's a weak map for Cloud9, but they'll be focusing so hard on the other 2, and I really do think this is their time. They can get to the grand final yet again.
You said it yourself. Fnatic are no longer godlike, and if we can start to see the cracks like that, Gares, he's going to know where to take the hammer and chisel. He's going to know how to break them up.
Well, I hope you're right, because I want it to be a great semi-final. I'm still thinking along Robin's lines. I think 2-0 to Fnatic. I think it's going to be mega close on train, but I just think the Swedes still have too much. We'll find out. NA, don't hate me. Hey, we'll see. Thanks a lot for your thoughts. Without any further ado, let's get into this explosive semi-final here at DreamHack Valencia. It's going to be Cloud9 versus Fnatic. Take it away, boys.